We have an amazing episode for you today, but first I want to tell you about Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Whether it's recording new podcast episodes, uploading existing episodes, editing, or more, Anchor gives you everything you need in one place to create your podcast from your computer or your phone and make it sound amazing. And the best part, it's free. Yes, Anchor is completely free. Anchor makes it easy to make money with a podcast without a minimum listenership, and will even distribute your podcast so it can be heard anywhere from Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and more. The podcast process has been so easy because of Anchor, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience right off the bat. I'm recommending Anchor to all of my listeners who are wanting to start a podcast. Be sure to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started building your own podcast today. My name is Kristen Kubik, and you're listening to As Told Unfiltered, the podcast that dives deep into what it's really like running a business. The raw, the real, and the completely unfiltered. Well, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of As Told Unfiltered. I'm actually really excited about today's episode. It's a little more strategy-based, but I see a lot of questions about it. I get a lot of questions about it, and it is one of the things that has really helped me in my business once I figured it out. And we're talking about funneling traffic to your website, your Facebook group, your podcast, wherever you want your people to go. We're talking about how to get them there. So the reason this came up was because I did a post in my Instagram stories saying to ask me anything about your business. And then I also ended up participating in a free coaching thread where I and a couple of other people were answering all these people's questions. And the recurring theme was people wanted help getting more customers, clients, potentials to their website or to their Facebook group. And every single time I saw the question, the first thing I did was click on their profile. And every single time, no joke, every single time I clicked on their profile, there was nothing telling me who they are, what they did, or where I could go to find more information about that out. And that is the biggest problem with what you're most likely doing if you can't get people to go to your stuff, go to your page, go to your website, go to your group. The reason is when you interact anywhere, on social media, on Pinterest, your person you're interacting with, the profile, the person, the social media manager behind it is going to click on your profile, whether that's to engage back, whether it's to just see who you are, or whether it's to check out your website. So when you're not actually filling all of that information out to tell people where to go, to tell people who you are and what you do and who you help and things like that, you're doing yourself a great disservice because you're not helping people find out more about you. And I say this with love because I absolutely did this too. I had this whole notion of my profile on Facebook is my private profile. I don't need it for business. I have a business page for business. That's great. You can do that. However, your bio should still tell me where to go to find out about your business, if you have one. You should have a where you work and tag your business page. Direct me to your Instagram. If you have a Facebook group, direct me to your Facebook group. Don't make it harder for people to spend money with you than it should be. Because if it's hard for people to spend money with you, they're not going to do it. If I have to search and search and search for what you do or who you are or how you can help me, I would never buy from you And I've had to also learn that and go through that and deal with that. I had to do it for the most part as a logo artist because I went through this whole period where I was scared to put myself out there as a freelance graphic designer. And I was scared because I didn't know what people in my personal life were going to think. Whenever I decided to go freelance full time and then eventually turn my freelance into an actual design firm, I was so scared. I was so horrified. And I had a lot of people say something about it. Why don't you want to get a real job? Why don't you, want to make something with a more stable income? All of these things. And for some people, those are valid questions. But for me, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to work for other people. So what do you do to find clients? You have to show people who you are and what you do. The second I put my website in my bio and linked my business page to my work, so many more things started happening because I would interact in Facebook groups and just drop some value. And people would click on my profile and then send me a message on my business page. Hey, I saw you in so-and-so's group. I really loved what you had to say. I'm looking for a logo. That's how I built my logo business. And I was making, 5 figures a year with my logo business. I made more doing logos than I did working at the vet clinic that I was at. It was all because I knew how to funnel the traffic. Whenever I did network marketing, I did that before I did my logos. I had a Facebook group, like a VIP group, and I had it everywhere. I had it in my bio. I would drop posts about it. And I know how a lot of people feel about network marketing. I tried to never be like that cold DM person because I thought that was weird and I wasn't comfortable doing that. But what I did do instead was just constantly show people where they could go. Show them where they, could find my stuff, could support me. And then now I am constantly telling people where to support the podcast, where to, work with me one-on-one, where to find my membership. All of these different things. It's all about you telling people where you want them to go. Because if you tell people flat out where you want them to go, they will go. And that's something a lot of people are just missing because they get in this, I don't want to offend people, offend my friends and family by plastering that I have my own business on my profile. But if you don't do that, you're not paying your bills. You're not able to grow and scale and do all of these things. And you're not confident in yourself, really. You're missing out on so much because you're not willing to put yourself out there. Now, all of that being said, let's go back to this thread I was in. I was doing a lot of helping out on some free coaching. I was talking to a lot of people asking about funneling their traffic. They were asking about not just using their Facebook profiles to funnel traffic in their bios. They were also asking about funneling traffic, finding clients in other Facebook groups or Instagram profiles or other modalities. And one of the things that I talked about a lot was the fact that my favorite thing to do, if I'm in another Facebook group, I never pitch my services. Never pitch my services. And here's why. I am a marketing major. I have 2 degrees in marketing, and I despise sales. I feel like if you market yourself as an expert, the sales will come naturally, and they do. Now, that being said, I love going into other people's Facebook groups and just interacting, but intentionally interacting. You intentionally drop value. When you do that, people are going to message you or click on your profile and figure out where your group is and do all of these things, create that connection because they want to know more about you. When you add value to things, you're creating that know, like, and trust factor that so many people talk about, but you're doing it without looking like an asshole. You're doing it without feeling sleazy, and you're doing it without cold pitching your services. I say all this not to bash people who cold pitch their services, because that does work for a lot of people, and a lot of people feel comfortable doing that. A lot of who I talk to and who my clients are have a really hard time doing that. I have a really hard time doing that, so I don't teach it. I teach you how to funnel your traffic, how to create a community, how to create people who want to be in your environment and who like you for your value, for your content, for all of these things, because that's just what makes me more comfortable to teach. So, I hope all of this was helpful. I am always willing to go more in depth about this, especially in my new membership. And I will see you guys next time. Finished another episode of As Told Unfiltered. High five! If you enjoy the podcast, please rate 5 stars on Apple Podcast. You can also find out more about anything you heard today on my website, kristenkubic.com/astoldunfiltered, including my membership. In my membership, you get 10% off all courses, monthly masterclasses, and even a group coaching Q&A session with me, where you get to ask me anything and everything about your business, all for an insanely affordable price. Check it out at patreon.com/astoldunfiltered, and I'll see you on the inside.